Well, hello, true gardeners. Have you ever just drove past a house and just said, oh my gosh, I got to take a closer look at this landscaping? And that's exactly what I did here. We are in Bent Pine community in Vero Beach, Florida. And I just absolutely love the look of this space. I knocked on Mindy's door, my new friend, and she kind of walked me through the garden. And I asked her, could I please share it with you guys? I classify this front yard garden as a tropical modern type of landscaping. You're going to see a lot of low-lying bushes. But what I think is so fantastic is a lot of this material is so very common, so easy to find. This is going to be a mesh of material that I think you can pretty much get at one or two nurseries. And that can be really hard to achieve when you're putting together a landscape garden. A lot of times you mix in a lot of the exotics and a lot of the interesting things. But if this kind of garden speaks to you, it is an easy collection of plants and trees to pull together to create this look. Sometimes it's just the way that it flows together that makes it more interesting than boring. Because you might even be saying, I've got a lot of this material and that material in my garden. I'm just really not loving the way it looks. But a lot of times it's the way it's placed, the way it's curved, the way it intertwines with the plants around it. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today, to how easy you can take and transform those common things into something way more elaborate, way more tropical modern. Just like I always do, we're going to walk through the garden and I'm going to share with you the names of the plants, the overall sizes and heights, and then just kind of what they're going to do in the future. So that way, by the end of this video, if this is your style, if this speaks to you, this is going to be something that you can recreate in your very own space. So you guys know I always love to start with my anchor palms. This is a landscaper's dream. I love bringing in some big, beautiful palm trees. Now, of course, these guys are just battling back from our recent frost, but they are a stunning collection of foxtail palms. We've got two doubles anchoring each side of the driveway, and then we've got a couple more over on that side there to give us really good balance. This house really does call for nice groupings of anchors on all the corners. So we're out on the corners there, and then they draw your eye right back here. I don't know, I feel like I'm just walking into an estate. It feels like a much bigger yard than it is in reality, but foxtail palms are ideal. And I think what really classifies this yard as a tropical modern design are these low-lying hedges. These Carissa boxwood are such a nice formal pop. Just really, really help you have a little bit of lushness to the back, a little bit of tropicalness to the back, but it doesn't get away from you. This curvature, this bed design, really, it's almost like, hey, there's nothing going past this point. Everything from here on out is nice and clean. So this is your kind of your finishing line here. And I love that this is kept and connected as one solid grouping to really give you that fine look. Now you can use Carissa boxwood if you want something with a little bigger leaf. You can use dwarf collusia. They do the same type of thing. Indian hawthorn will do the same type of thing, Green Island ficus, those type of small plants like that really do a nice job of becoming a solid connective grouping. They're also fantastic to suppress weeds because they're so heavily rooted down below. They're really going to give you that protection, and the weeds are just going to filter possibly around them, but not through them. So they're a great little border for that. And then all there is there's a collection of just three yellow alamanda. And these yellow alamanda, you kind of see how they kind of hang, and they're a little weepy, they're real tropical, they're real loose. What a nice contrast between those two. I think that if we had all yellow alamanda all the way around this tree, you would lose that defined line. But the mere fact that these are just a little touch of that wild look back here really speak to you from the road. And then Mindy looks like she just put some touches of some pots in here, which I love. If you want seasonal color and you don't want to leave a low spot out in the garden for it, adding some pots in here with just some of that variation in darker tones or lighter tones, if that's what you need for your pots. But adding a couple pots into the garden, I think just really sets this area off, and it makes it really easy to change up your seasonal color by having pots in the garden rather than putting them in the ground.
Hey you guys, Bryce here. I just wanted to pop this in real quick and ask if you could like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps show your support and keep these videos going. Also, if you're enjoying the video, please drop a true gardener in the comments. And if you're looking for any help with designing your space, or you have some questions, or you want a master plan created, or you even want a design and installation done, head over to our website. We have 3 short videos that break down our 3 services so you can see which option works best for you. In those videos, we'll go over pricing and locations for the state of Florida. Florida. And if you're looking for any products mentioned in this video, we have a link that takes you directly to our Amazon storefront where you should be able to find everything. And also, if you're looking to build your own plant palette, we also have a link that takes you to our book that helps walk you through designing your own space. Thanks so much for your support, and let's get back to the video.
So now we jump over here to the backdrop, and you guys are probably wondering, what? Clean modern with red copper leaves? Well, a part of this has to do with good maintenance because these guys can get out of control, but they can also be kept here for years and years and years and kept beautiful. Now, these have recently been trimmed. They're pretty harshly trimmed right across the top and right across the sides to keep this more of that narrow backdrop. But it is such a perfect plant for this area because we've got the greens, we've got the yellows, we've got the reds of the crotons, and we needed a nice big leaf of contrast. This is always going to give year-round color when the other blooming plants are not in bloom. So having this sometimes is the perfect plant if you don't mind that little extra bit of maintenance that's required on these guys, which is about every 2 months, a nice trim on either side and along that top to keep this just like you have it. But considering it looks like maybe 3 7-gallon plants are doing the whole job right here, it is well worth the work. But now to go to a tier that, you know, isn't very flashy, isn't very noticeable actually at all. Most of the time, you guys do not see me do this. I always work low and work my way up higher, but I do like this, and I'll tell you why. This little area of Liriope, this little low section between the two buffers, you're like, well, why is it low here? It's because these two plants right here will almost compete with each other when you put them close together. But having this low grouping, it's almost like having an easy maintenance path. Now, I know Liriope, you can kind of walk in between it and almost step on it. So it's a great ground cover, and get in here and maintain this perfectly. But what is even better is these taller plant material, you have to trim them a little bit less if you're not so worried about airflow. And this is allowing airflow to get in between here. So having this separation does a nice job of keeping the bugs at bay, keeping fungus at bay. So I might start doing more of this if my clients will see this and like this, because I really do like that bit of separation. And this yard is deep enough where the bed calls for something like that. But looking at it from coming up the driveway and looking at it from coming this way, I don't feel like it's out of place, like we're missing something. So I love seeing this. You guys have seen me do something like this sometimes with rock as a pathway, but this is a little less expensive way to do this and have some separation here. But you'll have to tell me in the comments if you kind of think that this works for you. And just to piggyback off of this, you guys, look how this curves around. And this wasn't left undone. They just took this drift and continued it all the way along this pathway here, really allowing for such ease of maintenance. Now they can get over here and they could trim these guys from the backside. They can trim this from the backside. Now, I've done this many times with rock, but I love the clean line look of this paper pad because it just really does do a nice job of making this overall maintenance so much easier and keeping everything off the house. So I think it's a great look. Now to even add a little bit more contrast. So we've got the yellow of the alamandas over there, but these dwarf Ixoras, oh my gosh, you don't usually see them this tall. You know, this is kind of their maxed height, which is what I love. That doesn't mean they don't need to be trimmed, but they do need to be trimmed a lot less. So they make a nice, big, beautiful backdrop with small leaves, big blooms. And I just think they really do a lovely job of becoming that rear tier. We don't want anything too high in front of the window. So they're gonna do a nice job of keeping a very simple footprint, but they bloom 10 months out of the year. So these are fantastic. You'll see me use very often the dwarf Taiwanese Ixoras for that. They stay a little bit smaller and I use them in smaller places like to the front of the bed. But I do love the way that Mindy had these used as a backdrop here because I think that they're just nice, they're subtle, and they're very, very colorful because the blooms are so big when the leaves are contrasting so little. Okay, and then just to give you a little touch of something extra, look, we have some Mammy Crotons right there in that cluster. So it just kind of gives you a little pop of interest in the bed where you have year-round variegated color. And then to add a little bit more color, a little bit more impact. Unfortunately, these bad boys are not in bloom, but those are the Helen Johnson bougainvillea. I have drove by this house, and I think I even have a picture of this house with these in bloom. They're stunning. When they're in bloom, that beautiful, beautiful hot pink look just really is a gorgeous contrast. And usually when they're in bloom, which is the winter season, spring, they bloom again in fall, and they'll kind of hit midsummer, somewhere along those lines. So they come in and out of their blooming cycle. But what I love is they bloom throughout the winter season, which is kind of an unusual thing for us. And when they're in bloom, these hot pink oleanders are in bloom. So these guys get trimmed rather heavily. But when you have big stalks like this, having these oleanders kind of come up and around and through them, I think is so tropical. And again, they have kind of a offshoot hot pink color to the Helen Johnson bougainvillea. Now, the negative with oleander that I find is that the caterpillars love them as much as we do. So pesticide treatments is one of those things that you really do have to keep in line with oleander. If that is not your jam and you don't want to do pesticide treatments, I use Brazilian red cloaks often for the same type of vibe. So you can keep Brazilian red cloaks around that 6 to 8 foot range and let them fill up the trunks of the trees. But this is doing the same purpose that I like to do when I'm looking just to the side of a yard, where this area right here on the corner of the house is a little bit blocked off. It just kind of adds a little mystery back here. And I think these are doing a fabulous job of just doing that. So if you like that kind of look and these are not your thing, Brazilian red cloaks do a fantastic job. If you have a little bit more shade, because these trees are offering a nice little pop of shade in this hot day, you can do something like cat palms, stagger cat palms in through here. They don't offer you the color, but they do offer you a nice bit of foliage. And then another option would be, you have this corner area, you could do a couple pygmy date palms, and they too will give you that big leafy kind of backdrop. And they're in that low maintenance realm as well. And then if you do prefer the dwarf, if you want something that's going to be slower growing, there is an ice pink dwarf, right? So if you'll take a look right around this corner here, there is the dwarf variety along the house. Yeah, and so these are going to be easier maintained. You can tell that because it's on the inside of the walkway, they wanted something that wasn't going to protrude out so far, because these are going to search for the sun. So they're naturally going to go that way, but these are also going to search for the sun. So they're going to go this way. So you don't want an overly tall plant next to the house that's going to push into the walkway searching for the sun. So these are a perfect little fit for right here. So these are the ice pink, and they max out around 4.5 foot tall, and really fill in an area really well. So now we're standing at the other side of the driveway. This is the opposite section of where we just were. They did a fantastic job of jazzing this area up. Now, I always say in a design, what you want to make sure to create is, if you've got weight on one side of the garden, whether it is your landscape and all those big trees that they have here, or an oversized garage, you want to make sure that you balance that out with your garden features, with your landscaping. They did such a beautiful job of incorporating a retaining wall to kind of create a little bit of a multi-layer. I mean, you could just do this with a small amount, just do maybe the high view to edging and add a little bit of rock in this area and kind of create a multi-level. You can do this with a regular brick retaining wall, or I've just seen it done so many different ways, but I always love that touch in a garden because it does add a little extra oomph. And then of course, they have a very old bougainvillea. Unfortunately, it's not in bloom right now, but I have seen this in bloom and it is stunning. So it has a gorgeous pop of color in the middle. And then they paired it with something just as tied back. This Carissa boxwood, again, looks stunning right here. You can see where there's a new crop that just came in there, and we have a whole wraparound. Now this garden has survived this crazy, crazy frost. So there's some little areas where they've had to pop in new plants here and there, but overall it did very, very well. Then right at the base, just to overemphasize that this is a multi-level tier, they brought in gold mounds. These gold mounds are going to connect and become a small little wall. Never overtake this space. If gold mound is not your thing, you can do the same type of look with blue my minds. You can do the same type of look with golden sedum, something that's not going to interfere with the height of the wall, because you want to see that step down effect. You want to see that it's pretty drastic. So I think this is a nice choice with the gold mound here, then the step up with the Carissa boxwood, and then the finial with your bougainvillea tree. I can imagine that these bougainvilleas that are going to be right here, they're going to allow them to get a little bit taller. They're going to allow them to become a little bushy pattern, because they're going to want that separation. So we have low, medium, a little bit taller of height in the middle, and then we drop right back down to the liriope on this corner. So we've got a nice little touch of some mammy crotons right underneath this beautiful red rocket crepe myrtle. This is a multi-trunk crepe myrtle. When they're multi-trunks, they were raised that way from bushes, so they're kind of made into trees from a bush. And I just think it's absolutely such a stunner in the garden. They not only have it here, but they have it along the driveway. We're gonna go right over there in just a second because I'd like you guys to see what that can look like almost in a straight pattern. I rarely ever use it like that, so it's kind of playing on me whether I love that or not, but I love the way it looks here, but I'm such a curved girl, so I'm kind of getting my head wrapped around it. I love that they've used it as a finial here to balance out that bougainvillea. I think it does a nice job. Now these red rockets, they bloom kind of from Memorial Day into that, early July time frame, and then they're cut back in January. January is when they kind of defoliate and they lose all their leaves. But all summer long, they have beautiful green leaves. And then during that time of the year of Memorial Day to late June, early July, they have blooms. So they're just stunners with their, red rocket. There's not a better name for a tree, is there? All right, now, so we're at the back side of that island we were just looking at there, and then we've got a nice collection of muhly grass right on the corner. Just a nice soft look. You saw it over there by the walkway. So I love how this design really made sure to kind of rinse and repeat patterns, because that's exactly what a really well-placed design does. And I like that little touch of it in the garden from one corner to the rear corner. Now, right here, this is what I was talking about, having the red rockets. Now, what I like about these guys is that they've been kept in bush form. This is the same type of tree pattern here. These could grow into this, but trimming them once a year very low as a bush allows them to pop up as these kind of upright stems. It just looks like fire as you come up the driveway. I absolutely love this look. I think it's very formal. It's very simple. It's one row and then a drift of liriope. Now, I have a lot of clients who just do not like the liriope look, and I could understand it. This is full sun. So this is aggressive sun where we're standing, like really aggressive because it's super hot right now. And this is a very old crop of liriope. And I feel like this, for a ground cover, they really do give you a lot of years and a lot of simplicity, but a nice defined line. And they really do make a nice contrast because they tend to bend over in a garden. So you'll see me use them as often as I can, as often as a client will permit it, because I do like what they do and I like the low maintenance they offer. So I really like them in this drift pattern that's right here. Now, up here by the house, we don't really see it because it's not in bloom, but these are more Helen Johnson bougainvillea. So again, we have that rinse and repeat. We have a big clustering here, and then of course, right by the front of the right side of the driveway in that main area, there's a big clustering of that Helen Johnson bougainvillea. That's one of the things that I love about this particular design, is because they've made sure to have color year round. Whether it is the gorgeous red rocket, crepe myrtles, when they're in solid bloom, you're getting tons of color with the Maui dwarf ixoras, the yellow alamandas. Then you flip it to the cooler season, and then you get the rest of that color with the Helen Johnson bougainvillea and the oleanders. And then of course, they made sure that there's pops of color in between those things, because you're always going to get color with gold mound, with the crotons, the copper leaves. They've just really done a nice job of making sure that there is always some bit of pop and interest all year long, which I think that's a really well thought out design. So keep that in mind when you guys are thinking about your space. This is not a home that I designed or installed, but I can appreciate it for what it offers. I really can see all those details, and I hope that you guys can too. I hope it really speaks to you all. And like I said before, all of this material is so easily accessible, so this is something that you really can kind of pick up and work with over time. I want to give a big shout out to Good View Landscaping. I haven't met Mario and Mario Jr., but I always like to represent a good company when I see them. It looks like they're here in Vero Beach. I want to thank Mindy very much for allowing us to come tour her beautiful front yard garden. Maybe if you guys are very nice to her in the comments, she'll let us come back and tour her backyard garden, because that looks pretty extraordinary too. So thank you guys so much for joining Bryce and I on today's garden tour. Please like and subscribe if you like. I knock on doors and hassle homeowners to check out their garden and share them with like-minded gardeners like you guys. Thanks so much. Take care.